turn 6, turn the tide, steal your cubes kind of stuff. That's what Gorr potentially brings to the game. And we'll get to the how in just a bit. But first, who is Gorr, the God Butcher? By the way, an absolute waste of an incredible actor and character. Gorr could have and should have been so much more in the MCU. But I digress. In the comics, Gorr was born on a nameless planet ravaged by starvation and loss. He had to endure much tragedy in his life, leading him to resent the gods who he believed had forsaken him. After he lost his son due to starvation, Gorr encountered conflicting gods engaged in battle, and in the heat of this battle, Gorr managed to acquire All Black, the Necro Sword, an incredibly powerful god-destroying weapon created by Null. Throughout millennia, Gorr went on a relentless crusade eliminating gods and collecting their power. Thus the name Gorr the God Butcher. He was finally ended by Thor, wielding 2 Mjolnirs. It's a whole time traveling thing. Millions of years in the future though, Gorr gets resurrected by Loki, but gets depowered by Thor and is driven insane, living the rest of his life as a mere mortal. In Marvel Snap, Gorr is a 6 energy, -1 power card with the ability Ongoing, +2 power for each on-reveal card in play. So essentially by turn 6, you want to have a bunch of on-reveal cards on the board before you play your Gorr, right? To maximize his buff, about 6 to 7 to get that good value. Of course, his ability counts both sides of the board, so hey, bonus if your opponent is also playing a bunch of on-reveals, but we can't always count on that. Now, with a base power of -1, immediately I think of Bast and Agent Venom. You mitigate that with those cards, and wouldn't you know it, bounce decks also have a whole bunch of on-reveals. So Gorr could be a very strong alternate win condition when you don't get your Hit Monkey or your Werewolf by Night. I also expect to see Gorr in a lot of negative decks. If you get your Mr. Negative to do his thing, Gorr becomes a 0/6, which is crazy. And negative style decks also pack a whole bunch of on-reveals, so Gorr is an easy choice for this archetype. I mean, imagine playing a negatived Zola on a negative Gorr. Sheesh. Gorr definitely takes negative to a whole new level, even if it's still very draw dependent whether you get your Mr. Negative or not. But that archetype now has another very powerful weapon, so I would get into the habit of retreating when you see negative being played on 4 and then Jane Foster shows up, unless you have the tech options against it, of course. Gorr the God Butcher comes to the spotlight caches with Havoc, who is a legit play, okay, especially with those Bast and Agent Venom decks. President of the Havoc fan club over here, together with Legion, who is a bona fide cube stealer in his own right.
Yes, I'm counting on that.
If you don't have these cards, this is a key spend week for sure, because if you've been thinking about playing the negative archetype, Gorr is the guy that'll take it to a whole new level. We're talking